You didn't say nothing that bad.
Well,
Which ones are you talking about?
the ones I use to listen to my Bible.
Oh, I never took those.
Yeah, they were on the couch over there.
Oh, they were?
They had kind of had a long.
Are you sure?
Cord.
Are you sure that Levi didn't take them?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't take them. I promise you. Oh, let me see.
Hi,
Oh.
Reformation.
All right. So, good afternoon, folks. Good evening. My name is Carrie Martin. You're watching Prophecy Montana. I have my lovely wife joining us. And there she is.
I was like almost nodding off a minute ago. I was like, oh. I kept looking at my phone.
Well, if you guys noticed, we uploaded her soap video finally. So
Finally.
Hey, Spunky gave you a huge thumbs up for that.
Did he?
Yeah, and Tim Grady, some guy had an ugly comment on there, and Tim Grady went to bat for you.
What did he say?
Well, how dumb your soap was or something, and then Tim was like, actually, no, that soap is really good, and he told him why. So then the guy's some kind of a chemist or whatever. So, but if you're gonna go online, you got to have a little bit thicker skin. So
yeah, it's kind of like our topic tonight.
It's kind of like the topic tonight.
Yeah.
Church hurt. You know, I'm gonna adjust your camera just a tiny bit. Promise we're gonna get started here. We're kind of dragging our feet just a little bit. Let's get Lisa more centered on that. There you go. I don't know. It's kind of one of my pet peeves. You know, if somebody's not
Kind of
properly
like that
positioned.
video of that almost 70-year-old man that was making those wood things that looked like they were flying because they were jointed.
Uh-huh.
And what did that one guy say?
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah, he says, I wish he would just die instead of making stupid little wood toys that nobody cares about or something like that.
I know, it was terrible.
Yeah. There's always mean people out there. And
I think they're just damaged people.
That's a kind way of putting it. That is, Lisa.
When I notice when there's somebody that does something to a child, like a predator, and that then those people have a tendency to do that again to another child.
To repeat it. When the child grows up, they have a tendency to repeat the abuse that they had or experienced when they were young. Mm-hmm. Forget what the name of that is in psychiatry, but there is a name for that.
And it's not always true, but
right. But if that person has psychological trauma from it that's unresolved, then it can manifest itself later on in behavior. Mm-hmm. So, very dangerous. And the topic tonight is church hurt. And we were kind of, we were doing a Bible, the Sabbath school on Sabbath morning, and we got into that topic a little bit. And it is actually a very interesting and a very good topic. And I've done my homework this time, so you guys will be proud of me. And I have, by the way, Reformation, just a quick question before we get started here. Did the notification come up as an hour from now, or did it come up as starting soon? Because Aaron just called me and said, because it's 7:00 here in Montana, and he just told me that the live was scheduled for 8:00. So I don't know. So anyways, just wondering, because I think I got the time set right. It's Colorado time. Same as Colorado, I think we have the same time. It's an hour ahead from California. Yeah. So, all right, let's bow our heads and pray, because this is going to be a pretty heavy topic, and we're going to jump in pretty quickly into it. So, and of course, we're going to need your guys' input on it as well. So, Heavenly Father, we just ask that you will keep our thoughts and our words holy and consecrated to you, Lord. We don't want to get too crazy with this church hurt topic. We want to stay centered. We want to be honest and open about this topic, and we also want to bring some healing through your word. In your name we pray, amen. All right.
Amen.
So Big Sky is with us, and yeah, that's it so far. All right, guys. Well, let's get started. So I got a little list here of now Thomas has joined us. I've got a little list here. It says, did I miss my, hang on. I know what I did with it. Okay, hang on. Sometimes I think I'm being smart, and it winds up getting me. Here we go. Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, boy. I thought I apologize, guys. It's going to take me a second to get rolling here. I had it on my screen, and for some reason it's kind of vital to what we're talking about here. Oh, come on. When you're looking for an app in a sea of apps, it can be impossible to find that one app that you're looking for. Oh, here we go. No, that's not it either. Oh, well, let's just get started. All right, Trish has joined us as well.
Hello.
All right, so what it was a psychological guide to, and I thought it was pretty good. It was just AI, but I had typed it in and it popped up on AI, and I thought, well, I'll screenshot that, and I'm going to look for it as we're talking and try and pull that up again, because it was a pretty good little rundown of how to heal in some of these situations. So, all right, let's go to 2 Thessalonians 2:3 first of all. And this is a very popular verse, and we've looked it up many times on here, and it always seems like this verse is, has something to do with the topic of end days. It always pops up in the topic of end days anyways. Did you see that there was 2 religious channels in the past couple of days that have said we need Sunday laws? I've seen a lot of information coming across the airways about Sunday laws. It's nonstop, actually. And, okay, so 2 Thessalonians 2:3 says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." Now, I wanted to point out that this falling away is not necessarily caused by church hurt. The falling away is leaving the faith or abandoning one's beliefs, okay? That's what it's talking about. And it goes on to describe basically the Antichrist who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called God. Now, this is the predecessor to the rise of the Antichrist. It's a falling away. And why is the Antichrist such a pivotal figure in the last days unless there is a falling away, unless there is a, leaving of the faith? And this leaving of the faith is not a conscious decision by people. It is a process by which we abandon God's word and time with God, and we are slowly led away thinking we're doing right, but we're not. So this is where the self-examination comes in handy. Now, there is a process. Well, first of all, let's define church hurt, okay?
I have that right now.
Well, hang on, because as far as, I'll let you read yours in a second, but let me get this out because it's fresh in my mind. I'll lose it if I don't. But first of all, let's define between 2 types of church hurt, okay? The one type would be, like, let's say in 1 Corinthians 1 through 1:11, or 1 through 11, 1 Corinthians 1 through 11, 1:11. I don't know why I wrote that the way I did. Corinthians 1 through 11. I think that's how, whatever. You guys, it's the story of where a man was basically in an adulterous relationship with his mother-in-law, okay? And Paul came to that church and he condemned this individual for doing this and basically disfellowshipped him. And so for many people, this would have been cause for church hurt. But this individual took the correction and he was later rejoined to the church. He ended the affair with his mother-in-law, and he reconciled himself with God, and he came back to the church and was brought back in lovingly by the members again. Now, this is not so much a shunning by the church as it was a corrective process by the church, and there is a difference, okay? Now, the other type of church hurt, well, and if somebody gets up and preaches a fire and brimstone, and you can find a pretty gnarly fire and brimstone preaching there in 2 Peter 2:1, and we're going to go through that verse as well, and people get their feelings hurt because the pastor is condemning sin. Well, I don't want to be insensitive, but that's not legitimate church hurt, okay? Yeah, you should walk away from church a little wounded if the preacher's doing his job, condemning this practice of sin, because I feel that's a very important role in the church, is that people should, if there is sin in the church, the pastor, rightly so, needs to point it out. And if the people get upset and they go after the pastor and they attack him, well, then they are in the wrong. Okay, that's one type of church hurt. That would be a type of church hurt that you're going to have to repent from. Now, there's another type of church hurt where I believe it talks about it here in Matthew 23. Let's go to Matthew 23. By the way, go ahead and say what you were going to say. Hopefully you haven't forgotten what you were going to say.
Oh, okay. So I just looked it up online, and it says church hurt examples range from subtle exclusions and gossip to severe abuse. It includes leaders misusing power. They manipulate members. They cover up scandals like sexual abuse, promoting legalism, and creating toxic environments with cliques, and all of which betray trust and wound individuals deeply, affecting their faith and relationships, and sometimes forever. Mm-hmm. A lot of people run and they say, that Adventist church, I'll never go back to those weirdos, or whatever, just making a like, and then they'll go somewhere else, and that'll be that. They'll just judge that church as the faith. And we just came out of a church that had all those. And I'm still an Adventist. I still believe that the Sabbath is the right Sabbath, but there is an abuse of power and authority in there. Oh, and financial manipulation. We kind of dealt with that at the other church where those people had a lot of money and they were never going to say anything to them. So, there's just all this wrapped up in one. It's called humankind, I think.
It's our human nature. And the idea behind church is that it's kind of a group help scenario. Mm-hmm. Like, it's almost like if you go to a group therapy for sexual addiction and you wind up dating a bunch of people that go there. Okay, it kind of defeats the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish. All right. Now, in church, if all you're doing is going there to learn how to practice more sin, Spunky says, amen, Lisa, I've been there too. Then that is a bad reason to go to church. We go to church to, number one, put ourselves somewhat vulnerable out there, right? I mean, we have to have that fellowship. We have to have a meeting of the minds. Like, okay, like when you're in AA, hi, my name is Carrie Martin, and I'm an alcoholic.
You're part of that.
Yeah, you're admitting you got a problem. You are there for help. The people have volunteered to be there for you.
You opened up your heart.
You've made yourself vulnerable. Yeah. And one of the worst things that can happen when you're in that vulnerable state is for somebody to be like, listen to Lisa's story, okay? So, Oh, Lisa did that. Okay, yeah, she used to be an alcoholic. Well, I was an alcoholic too, but boy, I never did things like that. Wow, boy, that was over the top. And then they go, hey, guess what Lisa was doing? Hey, you know what?
I don't
You
think
know?
it's like that anymore, but I think it's, where's your kids? And they try to hurt you that way. And I say, well, I don't know. I mean, Levi's going to church with me. This is my son. My other son kind of stops in now and then. Oh, yeah, where's your youngest son? They just know where to go.
Well, and that falls in line, I mean, with that
Judgment. They're
false,
judging you.
they're presenting a false piety that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Because God said we have all sinned and fall short
of
the glory of God. It also tells us to esteem others better than you do yourself. In other words, take on a humble disposition and a humble approach. This doesn't come natural. It's a practice behavior. We have got a ton of really good comments here.
Like we saw the whole church, they were all going to Mozambique, I think it was, or somewhere like that. And they were only going to take their mother, their cousin, their aunt, their brother, their sister, their niece, their nephew. They were never going to give anyone else opportunity, although people gave them the money to go. The kids, it really meant a lot to the kids to travel the world, to maybe help them make their decision if they wanted to be missionaries and stuff like that. But when there's extra money and extra plane tickets, there was no, like, well, maybe we should see if someone else can go. It was, shh. We're just going to have our
little clique. Our little group.
Yeah, where I feel comfortable.
Our cherished little group. We're not going to invite anybody from the outside. There's a lot of things like that really go on. Let me grab some of these comments. Okay. They're so good. The hardest thing is when one family is running the whole church and forget that we need the hands, the mouth, the eyes, and the other skills that the other people have. We need input from everybody.
That's true.
Everyone needs to be included in the church, okay? At least they need to be offered that on a regular basis, because they might say no today because they're a little shy, and they might say yes a week from now or a month from now. Financial stuff is between God and the giver of the church. Really should have no say in that. But some of these churches are small, and there's always that one individual that gives a sizable amount to the local church budget to help keep it open. And the church board usually recognizes and sees that because, as private as they want to keep it, there's, the different people are in charge of the accounting and for whatever reason, sometimes those people are favored amongst the others. And you're right. It's not right. It needs to be, if sin is taking place, no matter what your status is, because God is no respecter of persons.
Those people can get away with whatever because they're not going to ever get rid of them.
No, that's sometimes how it is, isn't it? I'm leaving my church for that very reason.
Wow.
Whether you give your tithe or not should not affect whether you're contributing in positions. It should really be no one else's business. There was a pastor I saw this week that condemned people saying sin was bad. We have to be careful with the word legalism. Mm-hmm. Some use that to not obey what God says. Ooh, they do, don't they? Mm-hmm. All right, church is for sinners, and sometimes people that go there tend to forget that. We shouldn't accept the sin, but no one is above any other person. Leadership roles should be changed every year. Agreed.
I agree with that.
Agreed. How about the new blood that's in the church?
Make them feel a part of it.
That's right. If you have a bad spell or a bad run of leaders, you only have to wait a year and it gets swapped over.
Yeah.
And then you can do something about it. And you can be part of the solution. And everybody should be encouraged to be at least part of the board at least once. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like our duty here in the United States, mm-hmm. To be on like jury duty. Nobody wants to be on jury duty, but it's kind of a duty, and
it's our American right.
And it's contributing. It's a contribution to our way of life. I mean, if we're not liking the decisions that the courts are making, then we should be, and we're not a part of it, then how can we be the complainers all the time? All right. I was reading Getting Meat, getting meat at the church. I was reading getting meat at the church, and if we give tithe to that church because we are not being fed, we are robbing God. Mm-hmm. We are to give tithe as long as we are being fed. I paraphrased. Interesting. If you're actually out there really doing your job and spending your time trying to get ready for the Sabbath, so spiritually and with all the preparation, you don't have time for that crazy gossip. That is a fact. No one but the treasurer should know who gives. I agree. What and that info should be confidential. Agreed. We ought to be careful not to confuse church hurt with butt hurt. Okay, I said it. There you go, Aaron. You made me say it. All right.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, some people just get butt hurt because, the preacher condemned one of their little sins,
Right.
And that's not real church hurt that we're talking about. The kind of church hurt we're talking about, the abuse of power. You guys have heard our testimony. I don't want to get into that again, but let's read Matthew 23, and let's get a feel for how Jesus felt about some of the leaders in the church in his day, okay? Because this is very pointed. Okay, then spake Jesus to the multitude and to his disciples, beginning here in verse 1 of chapter 23 of Matthew, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. In other words, they have his position of leadership, is what he's saying. All, therefore, whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. Okay, so they're sitting in the seat and they're telling everybody what to do, but Jesus is saying, don't do what they do, because they got a lot of talk but no action. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulder, and they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries, that's their outer garments, and enlarge the borders of their garments, and love the uppermost rooms at the feasts and the chief seats in the synagogues. They like these places of importance, where they can feel like they're somebody. And greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi, and be not ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren. In other words, it's kind of like when the angels come down to deliver a message to a patriarch, and they fall down and they worship the angel. Mm-hmm. What does the angel always say? See thou doeth it not. Mm-hmm. I am your fellow brethren. So there's even a humility that exists in the angels of heaven, okay? And so this is not a strange thing. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Christ. But he that is greatest among you shall be called your servant. Ooh. I've often think, the guy that cleans the restrooms in the church, why not put him on the board? Yeah, we should get to this. Tithes and offerings have nothing to do with capability to do church work. My aunt could not contribute to offerings and tithes because her husband was a drunk, took her money. She cleaned the church for 20 years. This is true. That's a very good point. Tithing our time is a very important thing. I've tithed my time before. Lisa has too. And we
were at the Lutheran church, and they refused to clean any of the rooms we were in. We had to pick up our own stuff and empty out our own trash. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's fine, but I always thought that was a little strange, because if I was cleaning, it wouldn't bother me a bit to pick up after anybody. You got the trash bag down there. I mean, why not?
Well, yeah, it's the wrong spirit. It's almost like, they don't want to pick up after us because they view us as Gentiles or something, and and they can't be burdened by the tasks that are beneath them. Yeah, maybe. Something, I don't know, who knows. That's true about confidentiality and who gives and how much. I know a pastor, not mine, who judges people on how much they give. Wow. He shouldn't even know.
Oh, my.
And I think everybody agrees with that, Trish. Time is money. My aunt had no money, but she had good cleaning skills, and that church never had to worry about being clean till she died. All of a sudden, they realized what she had been doing for years.
Man.
Yeah, you don't miss these people until they're no longer there. Exactly. Some say to donate your time, talent, and treasure. There are many ways to give. That's correct. You know, God wants abled. Well, He calls everybody to work. He calls us all to work. He's given us all jobs. Now, some have been called to be pastors. Some have been called to be evangelists. Some have been called to support the pastors and the evangelists.
I actually sung, and I never thought in a million years I would sing. But I sung, and I would do a lot of native stuff, play my drum, and sing Native American songs to the young kids. I mean, I don't know. They seemed to like it.
The kids loved it. And Lisa had always researched the songs and would learn whatever native language it was sung in. She would practice for literally months on a song.
I don't want to say that. I just want to say.
No, I do, though. I want to point out how much effort you put into this. And she would always pick songs that were wholesome. And, you know, some of these Native American songs are not appropriate for church, but she would always, like she did the Rockabye Baby. She did the one Cherokee song. How did that go?
I'm not going to sing it. But my point was
how come I can't get you?
How you can find something that you could do in there. So nobody wanted to sing, so I did it. No one wanted to tell the stories to the kids, but I did because I had 3 kids in a row. So it came easy for me.
Well, and there was
But I wasn't a star cook. I wasn't the one that was making the really fancy meals or anything. So, I mean, it's just not my thing.
Right. No, everybody participated. And, and that's how church works really good is when you have all this participation. Now, small churches are better at that than bigger churches because they need the participation. Sometimes people can get lost in the big churches, which is unfortunate.
Or get pushed aside and you never get to participate because everyone jumps to the idea of being up front, doing everything, just like that one comment. The family, their kid over there playing he's doing a sermon, his kid's doing the music, the little girl's doing the piano, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like the whole family's doing something and no one else gets any ideas or anything else across. It's just them. It's a one-person circus kind of like thing.
Yeah, and there's, sometimes you'll go to these churches where they are very good about going and making their rounds and trying involving everybody in the service. And some people just don't want to do that. They just want to be quiet and sit in the back, and that's fine too. We were those people once upon a time. I mean, sometimes there's people that just come to church very wounded, and they just want to sneak in, sneak out. I mean, that literally was us for a long time. And as we got more comfortable and got to know people and befriend people, and then it became more and more comfortable to go to church.
I have to say, we put our children in a school, and this woman smacked my son on the head with a ruler. I mean, he was a brat. I'm not downplaying my son, but I just thought that was so rude, and so I had to pray, and I had to meet up with her. And I said, is hitting my son on the head with a ruler, is that going to make him straighten up? I mean, what is your purpose for doing that? I mean, we're paying you to be our teacher. Anyways, me and her after that, we got along, and we were friends to this very day. That's Shawnee.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
So, I mean, we let it go. We let it go. We both looked at each other. She knew, I better not smack her son on the head anymore. She didn't get mad. She didn't put her fists up, but she just let me know she didn't like it. And she never did it again. And then I told her, I said, let me know when Levi is too much for you to handle, and I'll come over and I will deal with him. But all the mothers had to participate in all the meals. And I remember, making a bunch of enchiladas. And no matter if you're poor or what, you're going to make something because all the kids are depending upon it. So it's kind of like it's a necessity. You know what I mean? When you're in these Christian schools. But anyways, go ahead.
No, I'm listening to you. No.
That's all I was going to say.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
I was just getting into it. Satan is alive and well in many churches.
Oh, yeah.
Good job, Lisa. Yeah, no, the kids loved those native songs. She had them so enthralled, and they were having so much fun listening. I mean, they were rolling around on the ground, laughing and trying to sing along, and yeah, it was cool. I'm gonna get her to do that here online one of these days. They're really neat songs. There's that Cherokee song that says thankful to every morning they would sing it, because they were thankful for the morning. They were thankful for the trees. They were thankful for the water. They were thankful for everything. It was like a song of thanksgiving. And she put the real names up and then she would sing it. And she did a really good presentation on it. And then there was the Rockabye Baby one, which was actually was that Ojibwa or who was the tribe that sang that?
I don't remember, but that was Davy Crockett. Davy Crockett's sister asked what it was, and they would hang the babies out of the trees with lines, just so it'd rock them. And that's where that song comes from, Rock of Thy Baby.
Yeah, it was
treetop.
Yeah, it was originally a Native American song.
And when the babies got too heavy, the mothers got sad. They wanted to have another baby.
Yeah.
Because then the baby's too big.
It would outgrow the tree.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, really fun stuff. Despite popular beliefs, a lot of the Native Americans were worshipers of the Great Spirit. And that was the translation in their tongue. I mean, that's good enough for me. Mm-hmm. God goes by many names, right? There's these sects out there that believe you have to say it a certain way. Call on the name of the Lord. It's basically, you recognize that somebody else is in charge, that there's a higher, I'm not going with the AA philosophy of the higher power, and anybody and anything can be that higher power, because why not just make Satan a higher power? That's not what I'm going with. But there is a recognition by most people in most parts of the world of a higher power, and some have just got it confused. I've stuck around in many churches when I disagree with others personally, but I think that breaks the camel's back is when the church strays from our foundations or actively stopping God's work. Well, yes, and that's the point of, sometimes like Lisa was reading from Google there, sometimes it's like sexual abuse, like we had told some stories about our kids, We
let our son go with a man and his wife and their adult children that had some issues, and we never thought twice. They were going to SoCal camp meeting. We never thought anything bad, but the man was in trouble, and he just got out of prison, and we didn't know. If our church would have told us, of course we would never have let our son go. And I think there shouldn't be this hush-hush. I think someone ought to say, you've got kids, this guy could hurt your kids. Please don't let him go.
Yeah, and he was still on parole. He wasn't allowed to be around kids, or any underage person. We didn't know that. And it was the security at the SoCal camp meeting that actually, took him from their custody and contacted us and was wondering what kind of parents we were, quite frankly, because we had left him with these people. But
we had no idea.
We made it plain to them. Hey, we had no knowledge. We got mad at the church because they didn't ever say anything. Oh, well, he's been forgiven. And there's got to be a better comment. I mean, that was just a lack of wisdom on the church's part, in my opinion. Just because each person is different doesn't mean we shouldn't give everyone a chance to contribute. That's why we change the positions at nominating committee time. That's when churches split, okay? Carrie, is Allah God? No. Aaron's got a real pet peeve with some of these churches, and I do too, quite frankly, comparing Allah with the God of heaven. Allah is not the same. The Allah of the Quran is not the same. The word Allah means God. And when they're reading the Bible, I think even the Bible translates God as Allah. But God, the understanding of who, the traditional understanding of Allah is Allah of the Quran. And that God is not the same God. Neither is the God of the Buddha or the God of, you know what I'm saying? There are differences. That's not where I was.
Well, people bring stuff in as they come in from other places, and they start setting their jaw to it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like Immaculate Conception about Jesus, and how he was more than just a man. We've heard that in several churches.
Spunky says Black Elk Speaks drew a picture of the resurrection similar to E.G. White's vision.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sorry. Black Elk in his book is Black Elk Speaks. So his name is Black Elk. His book, the name of the book is Black Elk Speaks.
Oh, really?
And so he had a depiction of the resurrection. So that's very cool. All right, so let's keep reading here. Let's read a little bit more in Matthew 23. Our time is slipping by fast, isn't it? But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. Whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall be humbled, he shall be exalted. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees and hypocrites, for ye devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer. Therefore ye shall receive the greater damnation. All right. Good evening, Tim. Nice to have you here.
Hi, Tim. Thank you for going up to batter for me.
Yeah, on your soap video.
My soap video.
Some people can be so... I don't know.
I didn't put no Laurel sulfate in there.
So some people can be so. This guy claimed to be like some chemist or something, and he knew better. I'm gonna tell you what, that laundry detergent really does work, and it smells wonderful. It's just so fresh, and my clothes are so soft. We've been using it for how long? More than a month? I don't know.
A couple months, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees. I'm in verse 15. Hypocrites, for ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he is made, you make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves. Let me translate that. They go overseas to convert a soul, only to bring him into the fold and teach him how to be a sinner twice as worse as what he was before. Okay? Woe unto you, ye blind guides, which say, whoever shall swear by the temple, it is nothing, but whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he is a debtor. I don't know what that means. Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gold in the temple, or that sanctifieth the gold? Or the temple that sanctifieth the gold? Oh, so they're putting more importance on the gold when like what we were talking last night, the equipment that we have purchased that is sanctified for the purpose, these microphones, these are holy articles, right? That word holy just means consecrated or dedicated, right? The gold was dedicated, and it was a holy thing because it was dedicated to the Lord. And anyways, they thought the gold was more important than the temple, that was my attempt. All right, I give up. And whosoever shall swear by the altar, it is nothing, but whosoever shall sweareth by the gift that it is upon it, he is guilty. Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gift or the altar that sanctifieth the gift? Okay, I guess Jesus is driving the point home here. Whosoever therefore shall swear by the altar, swearing by it, and by all things therein. And, okay, well, let's stop right there. I'm kind of getting... Okay, woe unto you, verse 23, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, faith. These ought ye have done, and not to leave the other undone. Ye blind guides, which strain a gnat and swallow the camel. Camel was an unclean animal, and they would make great banquets and feasts and gorp down the camel meat, but then they would, in this false piety, strain out the unclean gnats from the water. Okay? Can you picture this? That's a hypocritical behavior right there, right?
Yeah.
You turn your nose up at the sugar cookie because it's unhealthy for you at potluck, and you make a big show and a display of the sugar cookie only to go home and do whatever you do.
Yeah,
you know?
I've always hated that. We had like these really picky eaters, and that's fine. But they always say, "What's over here in this? What's over here in that? What is that? Is there dairy? Is there cheese? Is there?" And I just thought, oh, I better just solely just bring something vegan,
Yeah.
And then I could just put my little card, because I mean they're like, just mean.
It's like, eat the food. I mean, like, oh, okay, I get it. Okay, if you got a peanut allergy, sure.
Right.
You got to be careful, right?
Right.
Okay. If you cook it, it ain't got peanuts, but if somebody else cooks it, it might have a peanut. But that's not what these people are doing. They're like, oh, I don't eat dairy. That's fine. I support that.
Who made this?
Yeah.
I don't want this. What's in here?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, dairy's probably not good for us. My point is not to condemn those who don't eat dairy. It's to condemn the practice of going around and creating this big, ugly scene at potluck, thinking that there might be you don't understand what I'm talking about, Trish. I'm sorry. Go to an Adventist church and a potluck and long enough, and you'll see some of these people that we're talking about.
They'll make you feel really small.
Yeah,
about your food. They'll pick at it, they'll poke at it, and they'll say, "Who brought this? What is it? Is there dairy in it?
Yeah.
What is this? Is this real meat?" And they'll be doing that.
It's like, if you don't want it, pass it up. There's plenty of dishes there.
It's like, oh, and
Stop.
you're like, I brought that, and no, that it's all vegan, or no, the cheese is real, but everything else is just noodles. I mean, it's a casserole. I don't know. Put peas in it. I don't know. It's kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah. Okay. Reformation says, Spunky, I believe that. E.G. White says that there were people from all over the world at Jerusalem when Christ died who carried the story around the world. Well, and they were shown, too, by angels. Meliak up there in Alaska, he was an Eskimo native. They talk about him to this day. There's a documentary about him where he said, and now, mind you, this was like early 1800s. He said that the boats would fly, and then the boats would go all by themselves on the water with no oars. And he spoke of all these things that he saw in vision. And he also was told to keep the seventh-day Sabbath. And so every seventh day, and that's how the natives would reckon the days of the week, just like most people in the world, 1 through 7, every seventh day, he would put a poll out, and he would expect the people. And then he went against the witch doctors and their practices, and he did a lot of things that
Who's this?
were quite. Meliak was his name. He was a Alaskan native, and they speak about him to this day. He lived in the early 1800s.
Oh, and he had visions.
Yeah, he had visions, and he was visited by a man in white, and he would often meet with this angel as he was going about when he was out searching for food or whatever. So anyway, sorry I went off on the rails. Tim says, "Oh, I don't think you were pretty kind. I mean, you just like gently tried to correct him and say, hey, you know what, this is, it." Because the guy was like making all these dumb claims, whatever. Everybody's an internet expert.
What harm could it possibly do? I mean, you can wash your body with it if you had to.
It's okay, Lisa.
I don't know.
The guy was a knucklehead.
Just the chemicals are just really not there.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah, Trish says, Alicia, the laundry detergent video just showed up on my feed. I haven't watched it yet, but I will, and I will try it. I don't like buying the big plastic jugs of laundry detergent. And hey, it really does work. I'm not just saying that. We've been using it for several months. I think we can also take part of that, take that to mean that the church forgets its home territory and concentrates on spreading the word in the jungles rather than the minister in its own backyards. Well, yeah, and and what are we winning souls out there for? Are we just going to bring them into a corrupt, are we just going to teach them how to be corrupt in a pious way?
Mean.
Dan, how you doing?
Hi, Dan.
Mr. Dan Vincent has joined us this evening, and so great to see you, he says, and God bless you. I think those abbreviations mean. I think I got it right that time. So, all right, Race Lever is with us. Woe unto you, YouTubers, thou askest your brethren to subscribe here, but then you turn your back on your brothers and seeketh your likes on Facebook. That was pretty good. All right. I brought something vegan. Me. Okay. All right. You guys are full of jokes, aren't you, Race? All right. Some people are highly allergic to nuts, which are a lot of the vegetarian foods, and if they ate it, it would actually kill them. No, and that's agreed. I mean, if it is about actual allergies, then, that's not what we're talking about, obviously, here. We're talking about people that go over there and make a big scene so that people can look upon them and think that they're, that they're pious.
They're food critics.
Yeah. Dairy, ? Laugh out loud. Children, mommy's milk is clearly for babies. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, mother's milk is tailor-made for that baby. My wife has breastfed all of our children. How old were they when you, they were over a year old.
They were 2, yeah.
Yeah, you breastfed them, and they...
I just try to give them a good immunity.
Yeah, it's funny because when she would pump her breasts, there was it would go like a little baby jar. There'd be like this much milk, right, in the bottom of that baby jar, and our kids were chunks. And it's like, how did they get so big and chunky on just that tiny little bit of food? Well, God tailor-made that food for the child.
Right.
Right? But
and kids, they should have that.
Kids need it, to be healthy.
If you could do that.
Yeah, that's right. The majority of the world is lactose intolerant. It really is. I know, like Europeans, my wife can't really drink lactose. She's very intolerant. But the majority of the Western world, from Europe, we've had longer time to develop the enzymes and stuff. But I don't eat it on a regular basis. I don't eat a lot. We had pizza today. I'm not going to stand here and be a hypocrite and one of those kind. But we hadn't had any dairy for a long time. We ate that pizza, and my stomach was kind of rumbling a little bit. Mm-hmm. So if you don't eat it for a little while, you can develop a sensitivity to it for sure. I think at potluck there should be designated areas for food with dairy, nuts, gluten-free, etc., and leave everyone else to pick and eat what they will. Don't force people to eat something. Oh, no, absolutely not.
I bring a salad. That is so safe. I'll bring a salad.
Yeah, with peanuts in it.
No.
Sorry.
Just salad.
Just salad, no peanuts.
That way I don't get picked apart.
God sent them to the land of milk and honey, and that is dairy and that is sugar. Yeah. Well, look, the human palate craves beyond anything else 2 things. That's fat and that's sugar, okay?
Yeah. Because as we were eating the pizza, I was like, and we actually paid for this, and it really made me sick. I lost 36 pounds, and I was a total junk food eater. And so I was thinking, oh, it's so greasy.
Yeah, you felt like
gross.
You took a step backwards.
I really did. I felt ashamed.
Yeah, she's been doing so good. Yeah. All right. I understand. I'm one of those people. Just last week I asked, I know it's vegetable soup, but did you use vegetable broth too? Sorry. No. Listen here, Trish. Okay, 99.9% of the Adventist potlucks are 100% vegetarian.
Yeah.
Not vegan, but vegetarian.
Yeah.
And there will be cheese and there will be different mainly cheese and dairy products, I think, and eggs, things like that.
Gravy and stuff
cashew gravies and things like that. But it's the people. Lisa and I do the same thing, and we feel bad for it, but sometimes you have to, because if you eat a meat product, your stomach gets upset and you're running to the bathroom within 5 minutes. And so, because we don't have those enzymes anymore, especially if you don't eat it for a long period of time. And so you kind of have to make sure, you tell people in a polite way. That's not what we're talking about here. No. I don't want you guys to misconstrue what we're saying. It's a certain class of people who try to bring this false piety and be like, is there any sugar in this? Is this real sugar? And they make a big deal and
about dessert as they do the casseroles and everything.
And then they'll go home and then they'll, and our son lived with those people that we're talking about. And the guy would sit there and eat a whole bunch of cookies, And it was hypocrisy at its finest, right?
Yeah.
So no, Trish, we're speaking specifically about, there's
hurtful people wanting to cause hurt.
Yeah. If you're gluten-free on your diet, by all means, I don't want to give you gluten. We just had some friends over. She's like, hey, I'm gluten-free. So whatever you got that's gluten-free, I'll eat it. Mm-hmm. And we looked through our cupboards. Okay, well, hey, we got some Cheerios. Those are gluten-free. We got this, we got that. And we were like looking around trying to find stuff that's gluten-free. Hey, I got no problem with that. No. She wasn't trying to put forth a false piety. That was her dietary choices in life.
Yes.
And if you choose not to eat meat, that's your dietary choice. If you choose to eat meat, let's say if you choose not to eat lettuce. Okay, does it have lettuce in it? That's not going to offend me. Does this have, like somebody mentioned, peanuts or this or that or whatever? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a class of people, and there's not a lot of them out there, but there are a few that will go to a potluck and they'll start pointing at stuff, and start making out like they're, superior to everybody else because they have the superior diet, and then they go home and they eat the very things that they were condemning other people for eating. So this is what Jesus was talking about here in Matthew 23. They eat the camel, but they strain the gnats. All right. So the best thing would be to have ingredient cards for each dish. Oh, and I've seen churches do that, and that's actually a pretty good idea so that there are no surprises. Yeah, absolutely. Please translate GBY. What did I just say? God bless you. GBY is God bless you. I agree, Reformation, that needs ingredient cards so that the people are allergic or have Crohn's disease. That's another problem. Won't know if they can eat it without getting deathly ill.
That's true.
Heard from a video.
I got to say this, though. I was 1 week into my fast. And we went to a potluck, and it was kind of thrown together, and no one ever said anything, what anything was. But I didn't eat nothing. Remember that?
Yeah.
Because my cutoff time is 12. So I can eat anything from 9 to 12.
Yeah.
I'm fasting. So when that came around, by the time they put everything out, it was 2. So I ended up taking a little to-go plate, but then I realized I didn't want that, the next day. So
yeah, and plus, it looked good at the time, but then you took it home, and then it got cold, and then
it got rubbery.
And then it was rubbery and greasy and kind of, and you're just like, ugh, why am I doing it? Monique is with us. Good evening, Monique. I'm here. So let me put that comment up so you guys can see it. Let me go back to this one. I heard from a video, the demons fear Adventists because they keep the Sabbath. Well,
yes.
The demons fear anybody who keeps God's commandments. And so he, and rightfully so, because God has promised to protect those who keep his law. We have someone who is a celiac, and she goes first so that she gets food before cross-contamination, or she just brings something. And again,
you remember my friend who helped me go to medical school? I was going through a program to become home care provider, and anyways, it was an extensive class. It took almost a whole year, and she was a doctor, and she done the blood work. What was that again?
Phlebotomist.
Yeah, but they clean the blood, anyways.
Oh,
she was a pretty good big doctor. Anyways, her name was
lab technician.
Irene. No.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The dialysis.
She was a dialysis doctor. And I always looked up to her. And her and her husband lived in separate houses. And she made her own soap. he made his own, well, he lived in his own house, and he couldn't handle perfume. Remember that?
Yeah.
And dust. Like, he would look at my sweater and he would just, he had to get away. So everything in his life, he just couldn't stand the dust. He said he could tell if the church was vacuumed or not. And sometimes we'd see him and then he'd be gone. He wouldn't stay for very long. And he would try to sit in the front. So I think there's just a lot of people that struggle, you know.
Yeah. Well, to Heaven Soon's comment here that's up on the screen right here, right there. Yes, I've seen those ingredient cards, and I've seen churches actually do that. It's such a great idea.
It is a good idea.
If milk is bad, why did God call the land of Canaan the land of milk and honey? Well, that was already addressed. Because those are the good things. That's representative of what we consider the good things in life is milk and honey. That's how you know when you have it good is when those things are present, okay? And
it's like a fulfillment.
But the Bible also says that too much honey can make the belly bitter. You know, so we're not to be gluttonous either. So balance, folks, balance. That's what we're here for. Big Sky, because the milk God was talking about isn't cow's milk. Oh, please elaborate.
I didn't think it was milk either. It was like milk and honey, like plentiful. It was another way of saying
A land of plenty. It was language is what it was.
metaphor.
Metaphor. There you go. Okay. Well, it was at least goat's milk because that's what we give babies when they can't have their mother's milk and formula is sensitive with them. Okay. Babies, small children need their own mother's milk, agreed, to be healthy. They do not need a cow's milk, a cow mother's milk to be healthy. And well, in fact, they're actually showing in studies, and I met one of the doctors the doctor that wrote the book, the China study, Colin Campbell. We met him and I shook his hand and he had a big presentation in the church. But he was talking about type 2 diabetes being caused from eating or drinking cow's milk. And it was through a leaky gut process. And I once upon a time had it, in my mind what exactly he said, but it's long gone from me. The land of milk and honey has alternative meanings in the Bible. Yeah. I like how Lisa said it. Salads aren't safe. People add nuts to the salad and the dressing. True.
Oh, I don't add anything. I just have beautiful grass and some sprouts in it and a tomato and some avocado on the top. That's it. Just really simple. And,
all is good if you label the recipes. That is all good. We have so many people with food allergies that we ask for labels and recipes. Very, very good idea. Big Sky is disagreeing with the milk and honey evidence that we have not produced. Carrie, you'd be surprised at how many people don't consider poultry or fish meat.
Oh, I know, right?
Poultry or fish meat. Yeah. Come on, vegetarians. Wean yourselves off mommy's milk like big boys and girls, just like AKA adults, okay? All right? Did you hear Race Lever? He's made a good point here. If we're real vegetarian, it's really not. I feel better not eating dairy, okay? I'll leave it at that. Okay, I'm a carnivore like God said to be. Okay. Aaron is also a big, you were telling me, all right, so I got a big heart for animals, right? And I'm like, well, is it just me? Like when I catch a fish, I even feel bad for the fish. I'm like, oh, you poor baby. Let me get that hook out of there. Let's put you back in the water. Oh, come on, swim. But, because you watch those videos of fish interacting with divers, they're intelligent creatures.
Like those parrotfish. Those parrotfish come right up and they've got these huge eyes and they're like, and they got these big teeth.
Yeah. They're intelligent creatures. And when you look, there's a guy, and I used to catch bass all the time, and we'd fillet them and we'd eat them. And I watched this diver who has this pet bass, and it's the same bass because it's got a little scar from getting caught. It's got a little red scar, and his lip is kind of deformed just a tiny bit, so he can identify it. Well, year after year, he's diving in the same spot, and the same bass would come up to him, and just hang out with him, and just really curious and checking him out and all kinds of stuff. And it was a fun video. It's the dodo. You guys ever watch the dodo on very popular YouTube channel? And they talk about these animal-human interactions. Actually, eating animals is a result of the fall, according to the Bible, aka the result of sin entering, okay? The Bible's quite clear. You were not created to be an omnivore. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's true. You know, we were originally made to eat, and it is about food because God said, don't eat from this particular tree, and we ate it, right? And then the whole time, the whole story of the Bible, and then you get to the end, and it ends with us going back to the tree of life. The tree of life was taken from us. The tree of life was given back to us because we ate the wrong thing. So that is kind of one of my pet peeves. Aaron knows well, okay? Aaron takes his stance. I respect him. He respects me. But the garden was where it all went down because they were told not to eat something, and they ate it anyways. You know, God gave us a diet, you know, of clean and unclean foods. But ultimately, our bodies were originally designed to eat from the tree of life, to eat from the trees of the garden. And then after the tree of life was taken, God gave us the herb of the fields in addition to our diet besides the trees. And then after the flood, of course, flesh was given because there was no trees and there was no herbs. So, but the lifespan of man significantly shortened. I made some butternut squash, baked seeds, and someone at church grabbed the container in front of all the people and threw it out, saying that it was not healthy. My jaw dropped to the floor. What?
That was horrible. I just read that.
What?
Oh.
That is nuts. I mean, butternut squash is the bomb. We used to grow it in California, and we grew some beautiful butternut squash. I mean, it's so buttery and so good. And, oh, man. I mean, if you drizzle a little honey on there, oh, mercy. That is like the best thing in the world. I eat that stuff by the pound, by the bushel. Children back in the day had mothers that died in childbirth. We didn't have formula back then, but if they had a goat available, then the baby would not die as well. It is more like human milk. Well, to Heaven Soon's point, if there's not a wet nurse, you know, that's a mother that's lactating, but there has been, okay, well, I'll finish what I'm saying, then I'll go back to that. To Heaven Soon's point, you know, it is better to give them animal's milk than it is to give them no milk at all, right? I mean, obviously, that is the better of the two choices, but it's not the ideal situation. It's kind of like when we say, well, if you're hungry, eat the meat if the meat is there. You don't want to starve to death not eating the meat. But at the same time, if you have in my opinion, okay, this is all my opinion, guys. You can refute whatever I'm saying. But if you have the choice, I believe that the choice should be plant foods, okay? They called the goats the nanny goat for a reason. Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I think the children used to actually suck from the teats. And you know what was funny was we knew this rancher lady, and she would bring the cows in, and they would suck from the teats of the goats. And it was hilarious because the big calves would lift these goats up, and they'd be draped over the head. Well, they'd put the goat in a stanchion, right? So their head was locked in the stanchion. They were eating grain. And then the calves would come in and, you know, start to suck from the teats. And they would lift the goat up, and the goat's legs would be draped over the head of the calf. It was hilarious, but it worked great. And what I was going to say is there's been instances where children have lost their mother, a newborn, and another mother began to lactate, you know, and suckle the child. And the milk came naturally just because of the hormones in that mother responding to the baby's needs. And so things like that, you know, God has made us wonderfully, and we're fearfully and wonderfully made. Think about the milk they did have. It wasn't from animals. Okay, that was spunky. Think about the milk that they did have. It wasn't from animals. That's horrible, Monique. I couldn't imagine doing that to someone's dish. I know, that's so crazy.
You know, the best dish that would come would be these, Oaxacans would get these pumpkin pie and those small pumpkins, and they would make it go in half, maybe even quarter it up, and they'd get a fork, they'd leave all the seeds inside it, and they would mark it, and then they would put it in a pan, and they would put a little water, put a lid on it, steam it, add some butter, and add some cinnamon sticks and things like that. And I just thought it was great. And I would say, so you guys don't take out the seeds? They said, no, that's good for your stomach. It and they didn't say it worms you, but they were like, oh, it's good for you. You must eat some. And anyways, so to this very day, I do the same thing.
Yeah, kalabasa.
On our table on Thanksgiving, I serve one of those small little pumpkins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really
so
nice.
Good. Spunky, they were using real milk in the Bible. That's how they were making the butter and the cheese mentioned in scriptures. No, they definitely were using real butter or real milk in the scriptures, 100%. Probably goat's milk. I don't know if they had cattle or not. Probably did. They took it from the Egyptians.
Yeah.
Not sure there. 2461. Big Sky has looked it up in the Strongs. In the Hebrew, substantiated my claim. Well, the word was probably literally real milk. Why would they translate it milk if it wasn't the actual word that meant milk? It may be awful to say, but I'm glad to be a shut-in now. Don't like being sick, but it's peaceful. And I almost never hear from anyone at church. That is sad, though. We have...
Monique, I feel the same way.
Nobody's called us. Nobody has...
I feel the same way. I have a whole family of men here, and I really don't have any females to hang out with, and it just seems like no one wants to put themselves out there to be a friend. I was always placed in the lower realm when people meet me, like, oh, you could come clean my car, you could come take care of my kids, you could come clean my house, you could come take care of my animals when I leave. It was never in a friendship.
On an equal eye to eye, we're you're my sister.
Just my servant, Lisa.
You're my servant.
You're very good at cleaning, Lisa. Thank you for the windows and everything you've done. And my cars never looked better. Here's $200. It's just I never ended up with any friends. So the whole 16 or 17 years we've been here, we've never had that. So I really, really crave friendship.
Well, we've got our online family now.
Yes. But what I was trying to say is I almost wanted to go back to my hometown because I know everybody and everyone knows me. And I know everybody because I grew up there. But that is in California, and that is a dirty word in Carrie's mind. He doesn't like that, California.
All right, Tim says we here had people go through training on AED and EpiPen. We have over 30 different food allergies in our members list. Okay, Job says that God made him into a fine cheese. Hang on. Does God make anything that's bad? Okay. Is supporting something that harms God's other sentient creations bad when you are blessed enough to have better options? Good question. I know an elderly member of the church that thinks if you eat cheese, you're going to hell, yet it's okay for him to cuss. Well, and that would be the perfect example of what I was bringing up earlier about those who criticize food, not asking legitimately because they have an allergy, not because of a food preference or a diet preference. They're
just cantankerous.
They're just cantankerous, and they just want to be that person, Yeah. Mm-hmm. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat. He may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. You guys are bringing a good balance here, okay? Veganism is the balance, Ray says. I believe that. That's my personal conviction.
Because I've read so much about how the life was shortened. And I know it was right after the flood and God shortened the life, but someone brought that up. But I was raised eating meat my whole life, and I used to have to kill my own rabbits and stuff like that. My dad would say, "Go kill it," and anything he said, we did. And so we would run and go, you know, kill kill a rabbit, which is terrible. It's really terrible.
Oh,
But anyways, we grew up with meat, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't know. But now, knowing a little bit more, I think I feel healthier, being in my 50s without the heaviness in my stomach. I'm able to digest fully, and that's just me. So
yeah. Somebody mentioned that fish are like the puppies of the water. And then Monique says, yeah, but not soft and cuddly as kittens, though. Did you see the video? And this was a few years back before AI. The little kid had the goldfish, and he'd throw it in the water, and the fish would swim around and jump out of the water back into his hand.
Oh,
And he'd throw it back in the water, and it would jump back into his hand again. Did you guys see that video?
I had a little fish. Remember that? What was it? It was like a little puffer fish. And it was like a little dog, and it would come up and it would eat out of my hand, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And then it would go to the bottom of this really deep octagon fish tank that I had, and it would turn around and around like a dog, and it was like trying to find a comfortable spot, and it would go to sleep. Remember that?
Yeah, that was that little
Puffer fish.
That little puffer fish. That little thing would get happy when you would walk into the room.
Exactly.
And it would curl its, like Lisa said, it was curl its little tail, and it would do this, and it would go on this side.
It was
and
the cutest little thing I ever saw.
It literally looked like a puppy that was like rejoicing.
A fish.
Yeah.
Form.
If a woman has mastitis, the milk would curdle and sour, and the baby would be sick.
Oh, yeah.
Just in case your comment was sent to me, Race Lever. There's a coffee that is fed to monkeys, and then they poop it out. Some consider it a delicacy. Ooh.
Wow.
Talking about, you guys are talking about different stuff. Lisa, you're not just a friend. You're our sister. We love you.
Oh, thank you.
I think I got way behind on these comments, so I'm just kind of going through them, guys. I can't read them all. And vegan is a political bunch of hogwash. Vegetarian suffices unless you're blue-haired libtard. Well, there are that class of vegetarians that do go around and really make a jerk out of themselves. Lisa, most of us have no friends. Don't let that get you down. I consider you a friend and a sister. But we're just not living near each other, but we soon will be. Heaven won't be lonely. That's a fact.
Right. It will not.
Yeah,
people won't have that frightened to be taken advantage of or be brutalized or talked about or judged. In heaven, we won't have that.
Trish wants to point out, and I'm behind Trish on this one, that she is not a libtard. She's a registered Republican. So you can be a Republican and have dietary choices, okay? It doesn't have to all be clumped into the same ideology. I am a mixture of right and left. There's some things that the left does that I very much support. I am all over the electric car thing. A lot of people on the right don't support EVs, but I do. And a lot of people on the left don't support things that, like I'm a big Second Amendment fan. I'm a
Race Lever. We'll see you.
So,
good night.
Oh, is he okay? Is Race Lever taking off? Yeah. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us for a little while. Peace begins at your plate, he says with a final smiley face. So, hey, good night. Thank you. God bless you, Race Lever. We are over our time a little bit, and so we are going to wrap this up soon. But I didn't hardly get through my list here, but there are 80-20% rule. I don't know if you guys have heard that, but 80% of the people, no, how does that go? 20% of the people wind up offending 80% of the people that leave. And the 80-20 is also 20% of the people wind up doing all the work, and 80% are the ones that are sitting on their hands in the pews.
I think we didn't talk. We talked about the hurt how it is.
Oh, but
But we
how
didn't
do you
how
reconcile?
how do you deal with it? And I think if you have a very strong prayer life, I think you could sway people with your prayers, and or you could sway your mind into a healthier view upon it. I was just gonna buy the book My Inner Child. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I wonder if there's something like that for adults. Like this is for an adult, but I'm talking about with the church. We
Hmm.
should look into that.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
always
yeah,
books,
yeah.
you know, that help, or audio books is what I listen to. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, to Lisa's point, we have to lift another up in prayer. We have to support one another, even though when we don't always agree. Like what's on the chat right now is a good example. There's some differences in our diet. Okay,
Yeah, I
all right.
just don't want to go
We
there.
can put those differences aside, and we can have live our life according to our own convictions. And this is what Jesus wants. If you are not convicted to give up dairy, if you are not convicted to give up meat, that is not a legitimate reason to, disregard a brother or a sister. And, what's weird now is and I don't know if it's media, I don't know if it's social media, I don't know what it is, but there's this idea that vegans are connected with a certain ideology of the left-wing party, and that's not always true either. And so we got to get rid of these stereotypes. We got to get rid of because we bring them into the church with us, and and I don't think it's healthy. And like I know Aaron and I, we have our discussions often, probably about diet and stuff like that, and what he thinks and what I think, and but at the end of the day, man, we're brothers, and that's what really matters. And I think Aaron was probably tongue in cheek when he said that to you, Trish. I don't think he was attacking you. I think we have to ignore a lot and stay focused on Three Angels' messages and getting the word out instead of on the people around us and what's going on with them. It's very hard to do. Someone mentioned coffee made of monkey poop. It's called Kopi Luwak. Kopi Luwak. I've heard of that stuff. No way. Kopi Luwak, but I've never had any, just to be clear. Kopi Luwak. I've heard of that. A lot of hurt in the church is because the people have put their focus on themselves rather than on God.
I believe that.
That's a monumental statement of all statements right there. Mm-hmm. We got to take our focus off of ourselves, and we got to put them on, Christ. Trish says, I ate meat my whole life. Then one day I saw a very graphic meat production video. No hate from me. I just don't eat it. And yeah, if you see the way if you see the way they process live animals, it is very disturbing. There's a documentary called Slaughterhouse out there.
Yep. I told my son, if you bring me some fish, I'll cook it for you. If you bring me a piece of elk or something, and I'll have some with you. I'm not going to be weird. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I just, like Carrie says, I don't have the enzymes in my stomach. But I will not. I'll never go down to a store and go purchase anything down there.
Big bloody piece of meat or something.
No.
We were invited to an Adventist, party, and they were cooking brisket, and we ate little bites of it. It was very good.
What was it?
Brisket over there in Boulder. Remember when we went to Boulder? Yeah, okay. They were eating brisket, and it was beautifully done, and there was potato salad. There was lots of things there to eat.
You know where that? This was? This was a cow that was raised there in the field, and it was across from Alex Trebek. He was born there and raised there. Mm. Alex Trebek, the game show host that died, it was out there with those millionaires. Yeah, and we got invited. And we did eat some.
Yeah.
There was a catering truck. They made it right, and they made it just correctly. You know what I mean? They made it really good, and
Yeah.
we did.
Brisket equals beef, Monique. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was years ago.
Your
But
mom was here.
yeah, and and I've gone to Aaron's house, and he gave me a bite of his elk, and I'm not going to be that weirdo. It's going to. No, I mean,
They want to share it, and
yeah, they're being hospitable and stuff like that. I just can't eat a lot of it because it will upset my stomach, and anyways.
We eat a lot of eggs. My son went and got us a whole bunch of eggs today. He works for a man that has over, what is it, like 50 or 60 chickens.
Mm-hmm.
But he feeds them a vegetarian
diet, and they're all free range.
diet.
Yeah. They were talking about eggs here.
Yeah. So I eat a lot.
So, anyways, folks, we didn't quite wrap this session of Church Herd up like I thought we were going to be able to, but we never really wrap anything up here. Let's be real.
We never addressed how to deal with it.
No.
I don't know if there is a way.
Well, sometimes when, if the church shows you the door, because you love Jesus, which has happened to a lot of our Amish brothers and sisters.
Oh, I know.
And it's happened to a lot of people. It's happened to people like Martin Luther and a lot of the reformers throughout the years. And so we're just getting in that time where it's going to get harder and harder to practice. Yeah.
Oh, look, Alex Trebek was over. I think Monique says she lives in Canada, right?
Monique lives in, where do you live again, Monique? We forgot.
But Alex Trebek did live over there in on the outskirts of Livingston. He had a ranch there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and who was that lived near us over there by Shandon or Creston?
I have no idea.
California. Remember that big ranch out there?
Oh, that race thing.
Yeah, who was that?
He owned that too.
Was that Alex Trebek or was that the Star Trek guy?
No,
Alex
that was
Trebek.
Alex Trebek.
Okay, all right.
Now the Star Trek guy lives in Three Rivers, California.
Okay.
And that's one of his ranches, so he might have other ones.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just like Big Sky up here.
A lot of famous people.
There's a lot of
homes.
famous people up here. So.
Yeah, and Aaron wanted to point out there, he's also made me a fine pot of beans. So he has cooked me some fine vegetarian beans. So
Canada, yeah. Okay.
So Canada.
Well, maybe he was born up there and he just owned a ranch over here too.
Yeah, Sunbury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So that would explain the French name. Am I too far off? Well, Fournier. Monique.
Oh, Fournier.
Yeah, people don't know it, but a lot of French have settled up in Canada. They speak French.
Well, the French Canadian.
Yeah.
And that's why the Blackfeet have those blue eyes and stuff.
Yeah. Probably from the French.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't get blue eyes.
No.
Our kids did, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's because of you.
That's because of me.
Yeah.
Not the French.
No.
I might have a splash of French in me.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something in the wood pile way back. We're all just a bunch of mutts. Let's face it. I personally might not eat meat.
Yeah.
But I have family members that cannot eat soy because of its irritable bowel syndrome and Crohn's disease and celiac. They will have stabbing stomach pains, except meat.
Wow.
And Monique has agreed with the French part there. So
Absolutely.
yeah. What was weird is when I got up to the Canadian border, when I was up there by Havre, Montana, and you can actually tune in some channels out of Canada on the radio, and they're speaking in French.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
We're not very far from Monique.
No, we're neighbors. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could probably throw a rock and
Well, one day, it would be a good solid day. We would be in Canada.
Yeah, less than that. Shoot, I think I've drove to Havre in 4 or 5 hours.
Right. We could be at the border.
Yeah.
But then there's a long trek through the mountains and stuff, right?
Mm-mm. No, it's right there, just a little north of Havre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they'll have a checkpoint right there. So, somewhere up there. Yeah. Right where the border's at.
About to the towns.
Oh,
cities.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But anyways, folks, hey, we're going to wrap it up.
Thank you so much.
We just want to thank you guys. You guys are the best part of Prophecy Montana. And, like the old man from Arkansas says, stay close to Jesus, because that is the most important part of everything that we're doing and talking about here tonight. And if that's the only takeaway, then that's what we must do. So we have to stay close to Jesus. If you hear me scream, ouch, you'll know you hit me if I throw the rock. So, yeah, you're not that far from us. So, we just, we couldn't, this fellowship that we're having right now with you guys is so important to us. And we've been working hard making videos and stuff, and just really enjoying ourselves. Lisa's got a couple more soap videos and a toothpaste video, and
I didn't really like the toothpaste video.
that's okay. Other people might like it, but you didn't like the toothpaste. Yeah, she made some toothpaste out of, what did you make it out of? They're the secret.
It's a polling toothpaste, and I didn't really care for it because when it hardened up, it was real hard to deal with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trish said something in French. Bon soir. That means good. Bon means good. Like good journey.
Très bien.
To le. I'm terrible. Trace bien. Okay, so you guys are talking in a language we can't understand. We're going to have a translator here. So, speaking in tongues and all. All right, folks, good night. You guys have a great